sevens have been determined for your people. Right. And for your holy city. Okay? God is promising him 77s. And he says to finish the transgression. So when the 77s are over, transgression will be finished. To put an end to sin. To atone for wickedness. To bring in everlasting righteousness. And to seal up the prophecy. And to anoint the most holy. So he's saying after these 490 years that I'm promising Israel, after these 490 years are over, there'll be no more sin. There'll be no more transgression. Prophecy will all been fulfilled. And there will be an everlasting righteousness. Okay? So now it says, know, in verse 25, know from and understand this, from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed one, the ruler, comes, that's Jesus Christ, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. 62 plus 7 is 69. So 69 of the sevens will be used up when Jesus comes as king. It will be rebuilt, the street and the trenches, but in troubled time. After the 62 and 7, or after the 69 years, the anointed one will be karat, in Hebrew meaning he will be killed for a capital crime. Also, it means he will start a blood covenant, which of course Jesus Christ did, and will have nothing. It says the people of the ruler will come and destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end will come like a flood. War will continue until the end. Desolations have been decreed. They've already been planned out. Now, it says it here. He will confirm a covenant with the many for 7 years. For 1 7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. Now, if he's going to put an end to sacrifice and offering, that means that the Jewish practice of sacrifice and offering has now begun again. Right. During the 7 years of tribulation. Right. But the Antichrist, it says, in the middle of the 7, he's going to put an end to the sacrifice. So, now you have him, the 7 years being decreed, but it says he will confirm a covenant with the many for 1 7. So when he confirms the covenant, that starts the 7. Right. Right. When he confirms the covenant, that starts the 7 years. And once the 7 years start, the church is gone. Right. The church is nowhere on earth. Why? Because these 7 years do not belong to us. It belongs to Israel. Amen. God is perfect. Yes. Now, let's look at this, okay? Because they issued the decree to rebuild Jerusalem. Listen, March 14th, 1945 BC. Jesus Christ came into Jerusalem April 6, 1932, which was 4 days before they crucified him. Now, from 445 BC to 32 AD is 483 years. That's not 490 years. That means that 7 years are still remaining. Okay? So now, Jesus Christ gets crucified 4 days later. The guy that wrote the book said from March 14th of that year to April 6th, he counted it as exactly 173,880 days, which equals to 483 years. So they counted it to the day. Do you understand that? They counted from the time of the issuing of the decree to rebuild Jerusalem until the Messiah came on the donkey into Jerusalem was exactly the amount of time that God said it would be. Wow. to the day. 173,000 years, 880 days, exactly 483 years. So God is in control of time. This is why I don't sweat. Because God is in control of time. When God comes out of control of time, then I'll sweat. Okay? But right now, I'm understanding God is in full control of time. Yeah. So let me ask you, after Jesus Christ is crucified, what happened to Israel's last 7 years? Let's go back. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 19. When you're in Luke 19, say amen. We're going to go to verse 41. Amen. Now this is going to really get you. It says in verse 41, 19 verse 41. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it. So Jesus is crying over Jerusalem and said, if you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The day will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and your children with you. Within your walls, and they will not leave one stone on top of the other, because you did not recognize the time of God coming to you. So because they rejected Christ, Christ is telling them, now your temple's going to get destroyed, every stone's going to be thrown, they're going to throw you down and your children down in 70 AD. And that happened in exactly 70 AD. So God was in control of time once again. God has not lost control of time. There's no such thing as, well, maybe we're on the wrong map. We're not on the wrong map. God knows both calendars, and he's measured both of them, and he knows exactly where we are. Amen. He's God. Okay, so now it says here, though, it says, since you didn't, he says, now it is hidden from your eyes. Now, Israel, you're blind. You no longer will be able to understand the gospel I'm trying to give to you. Amen. Now, go to Romans chapter 11. So when will the blinding be over? Because Israel is blind right now. They have been blind for 2,010 years. But God knows one thing. He promised them 490 years. But now he's put a blinder on them, and now they haven't got their last 7 years yet. So God put the 7 years aside and reserved it. And he says, now I'm going to go to the Gentile nations. Now I'm going to win the souls of the Gentile nations. Now I'm going to bring in the church, the bride of my son, Jesus Christ. I'm going to save as many Gentiles as I possibly can. And once I finish saving all of the Gentile nations, as many as I possibly can, then I will get back to dealing with you. And at that time, I'll give you back your 2,520 days that I promised you. Amen. So in Romans chapter 11, verse 25, it says, I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brother, so that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of Gentiles come in. And so all of Israel will be saved, as it is written. The deliverer will come out of Zion and will turn godlessness away from Jacob.